Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. We start this one off with a roadside electronic advertising display. Yes, you heard that right, an electronic advertising display. Now, there's no issue with it being parked where it is. It's parked safely, it's parked out of the way, and it's also parked in the same direction that the traffic is flowing as well, which is also good for when they want to pull away. Now, the question I have is this. On the number plate is a green rectangle. Now, I believe that denotes it's an electric vehicle. So is that display being run off the vehicle's power, or will it have its own power generator? Obviously, we don't want the driver to come back and see that his vehicle is flat now, do we? And yeah, I'll just flip over to the rear camera so you can have a look at it as well. Now we're just a little bit further down the road now from the previous clip, and we've got a couple here coming up now for you petrol heads or classic car enthusiasts. Now, as I've said previously, anything that predates the number plate format change in 2001 time does qualify as a classic car. This one is X-registered, and that is right up at the end in 2000, well, between 2000 and 2001. Sadly though, he hasn't done himself any favours by blocking the keep clear markings on the road. That said, neither has the oversized scale electric car behind him either. But anyway, we move on to our next one, which is just under the bridge. A nice little sporty number here, held in from the year 2000, as it is a W registration. In this clip, I've got one of my old favourites here, one of Wolverhampton's Licence to Kill assassins. Now, I was able to see him, so he sure as hell should have seen me as well with my lights on, but he still decides to go and do this reverse around a corner with oncoming traffic. I've got one here now for you petrol heads. Now, as my extensive knowledge of cars, it also extends to bikes. I have absolutely no idea what make that is. Well, it's a nice bike, I like that. And here it is now from the rear camera. I like that. We have ourselves a red light runner in this clip. We've not had one of them for a long time, to be fair. There they are, and if you look at the sequence of the traffic lights there, there's absolutely no way that he had a green light to go through. But anyway, we're going to move on now to our next observation. Now, we've all seen electric cars. Electric buses are also coming to the fore as well, especially with Leicester and Coventry having all electric bus fleet. But what about electric lorries? Now, it's no secret that I like my trucks, well, anything with an engine, whether it be a train, a lorry or a plane or what have you. But that there is an electric lorry. Now, I have never seen one of them before. This is actually the first time I've seen an electric lorry. It's operated by Armstrong Logistics, who have a very strong presence in Hinckley anyway. But a question I have, and if anyone can answer this, it'll be most appreciated. But how far can one of them go on one charge? Because let's be honest, lorries do one hell of a distance anyway, don't they? Now we're back on the A5 M69 junction again. Now, as I've said before, this junction and roundabout is well marked out. You know what lane you need to be in to take the various exits. And also on the approach to the roundabout, you do have clear signage as well. However, that is not enough for some people. Now, we're looking at that white car there, the third car in front of me. Now, he doesn't want our lane. He actually wants the M69 northbound. There they go. Now in this clip, it's one of my old favourites, the places to be and people to see mob. Now there's actually nothing wrong with the way they overtake 99.9% of the time. I just like to include them for the hell of it. But anyway, we're going to be watching that blue car in front of us.
roads. We've got places to be and people to see, as always.
Yep, beautifully summed up by yours truly. Now, I suppose you could say I'm a big kid at heart and I still love the sound of a good engine, whether it be on a motorbike, a lorry, a plane, a train or what have you. And in this clip, we've got a pretty sounding motorbike coming up behind us. This obviously is from the rear camera, by the way, as you might be able to tell. Now we'll just flip round to the front camera.
Now, you gotta love the sound of a good engine, to be fair.
Now, we're in the village of Paleton in this clip. Now, Paleton is just outside Rugby. And generally, if there's an obstruction on your side of the road, no matter how big or small, then cars coming the other way have priority. And we've got one coming up now. There's two cars parked up. They're in a lay-by parking area type thing, but they're still out on the carriageway a little bit. So obviously, I've got priority over anybody else coming the other way. However, that's not enough for some people. Now, as you can see, we've got two cars parked up there in a parking bay. Nothing wrong with that at all. Although I think that parking bay was probably done at a time when cars were a lot smaller than they are today. But anyway, we're looking at that car there coming the other way. Now, I've got great line of sight on him, so he should be able to see me as well. You should also notice that there's a little bit of obstruction on his side of the road, so therefore I have priority over him. However, he decides to come through, which means I've got to go into the gutter to get past safely. Now we'll flip round to the rear camera again. Now slightly off topic here, but the parking of that car probably leaves a little bit to be desired, to be fair, because this is a triangle junction. That road going off to the left takes you towards Rugby, but here comes Matey. Now, as you can see, he's had to come onto my side of the road to get round those two parked cars. Now, my car is only a small car, but had I had a big car like his, I think there might have been a little bit of conflict there in that pinch point. Now, in this clip, we're on the M1 northbound. It's coming on for 11:10 at night, and we're looking at a lane hogger. Now, as you can see, we're just overtaking a big truck here on the left-hand side, and up ahead, there's our man there. Now, he could have easily moved back into lane 1 there, just after overtaking the lorry, but instead he stays out there, so I have to go into lane 3 to overtake. Otherwise, if I'd undertook in lane 1, that would have been frowned upon. Now, after overtaking, I do move all the way back into lane 1, hoping that they might get the point, but they don't. In this clip, we're at the A5 and M69 roundabout again, and this time I've got one for you petrol heads. Now, it doesn't help that skip lorry got in the way, but there it is anyway. Now, would I be correct in thinking that's a Ford GT40? Answer on a postcard, please. Or alternatively, just let me know down in the comments below. Thank you.
Oh, I like that. Is that a Ford GT?
We're in the village of Brinklow in this clip, and we've got a cat that nearly lost one of its 9 lives. You'll see it dart out in front of me in a minute.
Rugby Road, B4455.
Now you'll just see Sylvester there about to dart out in front of me. I don't actually know if the cat was called Sylvester actually. It's just the first name of a cat that came to mind. Of course, those of you of a certain vintage will know who Sylvester actually is.
Shit, the bed.
We're in the village of Wolston in this clip, and now we've got somebody who picks probably not an ideal place to do a 3-point turn, right opposite a junction.
Onto Warwick Road.
You can just see the car there about to execute the manoeuvre. Now I saw that and I anticipated what they were going to do, so I eased off a little bit. She does say thank you and all that, but you know, it's still a bit of a silly place to do a 3-point turn.
What a place to do a 3-point turn opposite a junction.
I've got one here now for you emergency vehicle enthusiasts. But I'm going to keep this clip rolling now because our next observation is just up here on the right hand side. Now, as we all know, well, we all should know that driving whilst on your phone is illegal and is also frowned upon. But just up here now, you will see somebody who is on the phone. Well, it looks like they are. You can just tell by looking at the position of their head where they're looking. So, unless he's actually scratching his gonads or something, or giving himself a self-examination, then the phone is the only explanation I've got. Now, seriously, can you make it look any more obvious than that? Like I say, he's either scratching his balls or he's on his phone. My money is on the phone. Now, I can guarantee there'll be at least one person now calling me a grass for pointing that out. But let me just say this. I just hope that you never have anyone who's injured, or worse, by somebody who's driving whilst they're on the phone. Now, in this clip, we've got somebody in a van who just pulls out without looking. Now, he did hesitate slightly, but then he went. You'll see him now pop out on the left-hand side.
7 for half a mile.
Hey, you weren't even looking there, were you?
But, to be fair to them, they do let the person in the mobility chair that you see on the right-hand side there cross the road. We're on Ashby Road in Hinckley in this clip. Now we're looking at forward planning. Now on the left hand side there are a number of houses that do have driveways. Now where we've got the traffic lights here, I normally try not to block any of these driveways so there's still access available for those that need them. And as you can see here, I've left a gap. Now you think that'd be easy for some people, wouldn't you? But evidently not in this case, as you can see just here where they've closed the gap up. Now, I know you don't have to leave a gap, really, but I do it out of common courtesy after an incident which happened a fair few years ago on the long shoot in Nuneaton. Now, if you are a viewer of this video and you do live in Nuneaton, you will know that the long shoot can be pretty bad at the best of times, especially with all the newer houses going up. And one time I did actually block a driveway and somebody wanted to turn in and they couldn't because I was sat there, so they're holding traffic up coming the other way. I mean, I've not commuted into Nuneaton now for about 3 years or so, so God knows what it's like now. Now, on this particular day that I'm driving now, it was just coming up to 0 degrees. We had a very hard frost the night before, and I think it went down to about -3 or something like that. Anyway, I had to de-ice my car beforehand. Now, there's always an old joke going around that you always see a postie going around in the shorts in the coldest of weather. Well, guess what? I think I found him here on this particular day. There he is, just there on the left-hand side. But then again, I expect with the amount of walking they have to do, they probably wouldn't feel the cold anyway. And in this clip, we've got my old favourite, manners, or lack of manners, shall we say. Now, this is Brookside in Burbage. Now, note I say Burbage and not Hinckley. We don't want to get the two mixed up now, do we? And we've got a van on the right-hand side that you can see now coming up. Now, those traffic lights that you see there have just turned to green, so I leave a gap and do the gentlemanly thing and let that van out. Now, I noticed he was fiddling around for his seatbelt and all that, so I thought, well, he might say thank you or give me a flash of the lights. But did he? Nah, did he heck? As you'll hear, I was most impressed as well.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. Don't mention it any time at all.
And another one of my old favourites is the old places to be and peoples to see brigade. The ones that like to overtake. Now, I've always said before, they're not doing anything illegal as long as it's done safely, but I just show them just for the hell of it. Now, as you can tell, this is the rear camera we're looking at, and here he comes now right up behind us. And of course, we'll flip over to the front camera now. There they go. See you later, mate. Now, we're coming up to the A5 and M69 roundabout in this clip. Now, this roundabout has featured a fair few times and will probably feature a fair few more times as well. Now, as I've said previously, the lane markings are pretty clear. You know what lane you need to be in. And likewise, they're all properly signposted on the approach from each road as well. Now, pretty easy to understand apart from some people. Now, our focus is on this car here that you see on the left-hand side. Now, he's actually in the lane for the A5 northbound. We don't actually want the A5 northbound. He wants the same road that I do.
an absolute sausage. What lane do you want?
Now, on the day of this clip, the 21st of November, the Hinkley's Tin Hat Fair was already in full swing and the Christmas light switch on had happened as well. But we've also got a resident on the right hand side here who's also got into the Christmas spirit early. You'll hear my reaction too. Now, we're looking at that house there on the right hand side. Now, the camera does not do it justice because I can tell you now that house looked really, really beautiful with all those inflatables out and all lit up. I mean, to be honest with you, if you live local, I'd say it would certainly be worth going down to have a look yourself.
Shit, the bed, look at that. Oh, mate, that is tidy.
And yes, it really, really was. Definitely, if you do live local, go and have a look for yourself. But anyway, that's all we have time for this week. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care and bye for now.